Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of a live stream with Ali and Toby. Yeah, I'm happy to have you to be here today and to have you guys joining today. And yeah, of course, I mean we've been doing like this like for a while now. We've done like 10 episodes, I think. Like, and this makes the 11th episode, I think. Yeah, this makes the 11th episode, and yeah, so far we've worked with so many technologies like HTML, CSS, mostly front-end technologies. HTML, CSS, JavaScript. We've worked immensely with them, and we built projects with them as well. So yeah, for today we'll be doing something different and we'll be doing something exciting. It will be a framework, yes, but and yeah, Tailwind of course, and yeah, this would be the beginning of Tailwind live stream. So Ali, over to you.
Okay, so in the name of Allah. So hello everyone. I hope everyone is doing great. So happy weekends. And so as Toby said, this is going to be our 11th live stream that we are going to talk about. Mostly it's going to be about front-end development, like we did about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, which was all about front-end development. So
Mhm.
for today's live stream, we are going to talk about a framework, a CSS framework, which is
Yeah.
very important to know, and you must
Mhm.
learn it to make your work
Mhm.
very easy and fast.
Yeah,
So that
yeah,
is
yeah.
Tailwind CSS. So basically, in today's live stream, there will be two sections. So the first
Mhm.
section, which is my responsible to present to give you full, like a brief information about Tailwind CSS, and the second
Mhm.
section is going to be like Toby is going to teach us how to set it up and start working with it.
Yeah,
So
sure.
let's do it. Okay.
Yeah,
So
excited.
let me share my screen. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So for today's live stream, we have made a slides. So let's work on it. So let's talk about the Tailwind CSS. So Toby, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can. I can.
Okay. So first, like I want to tell about my background with like Tailwind CSS background. So like it's been a decade, for example, since 4 or 3 months that I'm using Tailwind CSS in all of my projects, and I have a good experience with it. Like while using the Tailwind CSS, it will make my work, like my job, my project, very easy and very fast. So for example, I want to make a single page. So maybe with vanilla, if I use the vanilla CSS, so it will take 1 hour or 2 hours. But but if I use 7 CSS instead of vanilla CSS, it might take me 20 or 25 minutes. So that's the difference between using the vanilla CSS and Tailwind CSS. So that's my Tailwind CSS background. So Toby, can you tell about yourself?
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, I've been working with Tailwind for some time now. I mean, I started like any front end developments like majorly around last year. So one of the frameworks that I got to know about like first, like the first ever framework I learned, HTML, CSS, whatever was Tailwind. Tailwind was the first ever framework I learned, and I learned it because I went to a bootcamp. So we were taught like 3 days. It took them like 3 days to teach us Tailwind. So I saw videos online on Net Ninja, and I got to get acquainted with the framework. It was a bit kind of tricky to set it up with
Mm.
HTML and CSS, and I eventually found a way out to like figure it out. But yeah, it's fun. It was fun. I mean, getting to work with it and building awesome stuff with it. Yeah, I did
Yeah.
learn a lot from that.
Mhm.
Hmm.
That's cool. Nice to hear it. Yeah, that's true that it's too tricky to set it up and start working it. So that's why we are going to teach them like how to set it up and start working by the end of this live stream. Okay. So that was the CSS, like Tailwind CSS background. So the first question is like, what is Tailwind CSS? Like we have to know what it is. So Tailwind CSS is a framework, like utility classes framework, which you can like instead of making a separate file and style your elements, you can add class names inside the elements, and the style will be automatically added. So that's the beauty of using the Tailwind CSS. So you might ask like, what is framework? Like you said, like Tailwind CSS is a framework. So what framework it is exactly? So framework is something which is built on top of something. Like for example, imagine this is the CSS and this is Tailwind CSS. So Tailwind CSS is a framework of CSS. Like it is built on top of CSS. Like a framework is a software, like it's built on top of a software. Like we can't like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that Tailwind CSS is something else and CSS is something else. No, like
No, no,
imagine
no.
like CSS, if CSS doesn't exist, then Tailwind CSS doesn't exist as well. But if Tailwind CSS doesn't exist, but still we have the vanilla CSS to work with. So Tailwind CSS, like for example, like this is a technology, like in the future there will be someone that is going to build something on top of this technology that will make the work easy and fast, so that's called the framework.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was the framework. And like the question is like why we have to use Tailwind CSS. Like I maybe there might be someone that is saying that I'm good in vanilla CSS, like I feel free while using it, so there's no need to use the Tailwind CSS. So I will give you 5 reasons to why Tailwind CSS is important to learn it. So the first one is going to be efficiency. Like Tailwind CSS utility is going to make our work very quickly and very efficiently. Like instead of making a separate file for styling your element, you can do like you can add a class name and the style will be added automatically. So that's the efficiency. Like you can like instead of writing a custom css from scratch, like you can use class name in order to make your work easy and fast. So that's the first reason. So the second reason is going to be the consistency. Like for example, like there's a 2 div, like you want to you can like the first div you can add a width that you can give a class name, and you can also use that class name with on another element, so that will make your code readable. And if someone come and read your code, then it will be readable and they can understand it what is happening. So that's the second reason. And the third reason is going to be responsive design. So Tailwind CSS has a powerful tool, like has a powerful classes which we can use them to make our website to be fully responsive. Like instead of using a media query, we can use the Tailwind CSS classes to make our website to work well in all devices. So that's the third reason. And the fourth reason is going to be accessibility. Like if you like in 7 CSS, you need to give a class name. Like if someone from from somewhere else come and read your code, then he or they know what is happening and they can change it immediately. So there's no need for them to go in another folder and change their styles. So that's the fourth reason. And the fifth reason is going to be customizability. Like, for example, like Tailwind CSS is highly customizable. Like you can add a font size, like you can add a custom font size, you can add a spacing, you can add the space tracking, you can add a background, a custom background. Yeah, you can do so many things with it. Like these are the 5 reasons that made me to use the Tailwind CSS. So any okay. Any thoughts, Toby, on the why we have to use Tailwind CSS?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, the reasons you mentioned are actually what Tailwind does offer. I mean, efficiency, consistency, responsive design, accessibility, and customizability. I've worked on projects where I had like a tight deadline, and using Tailwind, I would like be able to like do stuff like way quickly. And Tailwind does not have like all the classes, so any classes that I don't have, I can just like write it in the config.js file and then use it in my or just use at apply or something to like reduce my code. I don't have to write, so that I don't have to write much code. So yeah, Tailwind does offer all of this. Responsiveness is like Tailwind is mobile first by default. So yeah, like it easily makes your work easier. Accessibility, of course, and you can customize it to whatever. extent. You can customize your designs to whatever extent you want to do. That's how awesome it is. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
good. Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So if you see this image, like if we are talking about this div, like this div contains class names which are flex, which is flex and item sense and justify between. So you can do that. You can center a div immediately, like in a second. But if you use the vanilla CSS, you need to go to the style.css, target the div, and say display set to flex, align items to be center, justify content to be justified between. So it will take time. Like instead of putting your whole time on vanilla CSS, you can do it immediately by adding class name, like Tailwind CSS.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the final one, like we are going to like showcase some examples. Like we are going to show you some website that have used Tailwind CSS. So for example, if we go to here, so this is the tailwindCSS.com, which is in the showcase route. So you can build anything with Tailwind CSS. So these are the several websites that have used Tailwind CSS, which are amazing. Like
Mm-hmm.
let's go and check this one out. Turbo. Let's visit this one. See this one? It's really cool. Like they have used Tailwind CSS. And there
Okay.
are a lot of this kind of website which you can go to this route, like to this website and see the websites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this
Yeah,
is really nice.
yeah.
These are really nice, rather.
Mhm. So that was this first section. So we tried to tell you what is Tailwind CSS and why what is framework and why we have to use Tailwind CSS, and we give you 5 reasons, and we also give you some examples. So right now the time is, so we have to give the time to Toby to teach us how to set it up and start working with it.
Yeah, of course, Ali. Thank you very much for that awesome presentation. And yeah, it's my turn to like show code stuff. So see if you can share your screen, Ali. Yes,
Okay.
VS Code. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, we're working from Ali's VS Code. So awesome. So Ali, if you can like do me the favor of like going to
Okay.
Tailwind's documentation,
Okay.
maybe open it on the side or something.
Okay. So with CSS.
Get started. Yeah. So yeah, thank you. So now there are like multiple ways to set up Tailwind in your application, and yeah, okay. Let's use the drag and drop and draw image in JavaScript project to like to work on it, or we can create a separate file to like
Yeah, we can
do that.
make a separate file.
Maybe live stream 11. Okay, I
Yeah,
think you've created it.
nice.
Okay, okay. So yeah, so there are several ways to set up Tailwind CSS. There's you can use Tailwind CLI, you can use post CSS framework guides, or you can just use the play CDN. So I'm going to work with two of them. I'm working with the Play CDN and I'm working with Tailwind CLI to set up Tailwind in our project. But first, I'll start with the Tailwind CLI because that's one where we have to install some dependencies and configure it. So yeah, but for this, the prerequisites will be that you need to have Node installed on your laptop. I think there's also another method here you can use with the standalone executable. So like if you want to use that Node.js, but I have Node.js, so I'm going to be and Ali has Node.js, so we're going to be using Node.js to make some installations. So getting started. Okay, so Ali has navigated to the file for me. Uh, okay, thank you. So from here, come in. I see your terminal. Okay, okay. Yeah, so now I'm going to start with the first step, which is to install um, Tailwind CSS. Yeah, so there's a minimalistic init you can do to like get Tailwind CSS on your laptop or your HTML CSS. You generate one tailwind or configure JS file like that you can work with to like add your own custom styles and all those things. So give me a minute. Let me navigate to it. Yeah. So I'm going to copy that first line of code. I'm going to paste it on terminal to work to like get started. So I'm going to paste it here. Sorry, sorry. Mm, yeah, I'm going to paste this here. Paste. So I'm going to press install to install the dependencies. So it's installing now, and it should generate a file for us in Livestream 11. If we open the directory, you should see a file that was generated when it's done installing. That's it, yeah.
Hmm. That's cool. Yep.
So I'm going to initialize it to get the config.js file for it after that. But first, let's install. We can actually combine both commands into one step. Yeah, okay, that one is done. So what do we have now in Livestream 11? We still have no files yet in it. So I'm going to copy this in it to initialize it. We should actually have a node module or something of the sort. Yeah, yeah. We have a package log.json and package.json now. So I'll paste this in it here. So it's generate the tailwind.config.js file for me. Is it running over there, Ali? Okay, yeah, so it
Yeah, it's
created
working. Yeah.
created the file for me. So I'm basically following them step by step what the documentation says. So if Ali scrolls down, okay, yeah. So then
Okay.
the next step, I'm going to copy this content line of code and put in my tailwind config.js. So I'm just going to edit out that line of code. Coming back here, uh, okay, yeah, so I see it now. So I'm going to edit this line of code here. So I'm going to take this guy out and paste this one here. So that is done as well. Moving on to the next line of code. So I'm going to add this directive to my CSS. So according to what they said here, they said I should have a source slash input.css file. But I can name my CSS file whatever I want. It doesn't really matter. But for like custom sake, do you think we should go with input.css early, or do you think I should create my own CSS file?
Uh, as you wish. Like you can add your own names, but as you wish, bro.
Okay, yeah, for
Like we.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Let me just go ahead and create a CSS file. Let me call it input.css to follow the documentation. So impute, and notice that this CSS name file is like customizable to whatever I want, because the reason why we are installing all these dependencies is that Tailwind is going to work with our the utility names that we use in our HTML. We are going to write them inline as Ali has shown you. So our Tailwind dependencies would work with those utility names. They are tied to like specific names somewhere, and there'll be like some sort of compilations that will then convert each one of them, and it will write to a static CSS file. There's like an output.css file that it will keep writing to, so that all the Tailwind you've written somewhere else, like in your HTML rather, you will see them in one static file generated as normal CSS. So you're still doing CSS, but it's just a framework. And Tailwind is very light, so all of this process doesn't take that much computing power, and it doesn't overwhelm your project. So I'm going to copy these three lines of code that they've put here. They're called directives. So at Tailwind base, at Tailwind components, at Tailwind utilities. I'm basically importing all the things Tailwind into your CSS file. So we've done that. So now I'm going to go to my terminal and run this line of code. So this line of code is executing Tailwind CSS for us. But like it's the input, you can see this slash I, this flag is going to check the source file and look for input.css. And then the output file is going to be writing to is going to be in this output.css, and it's going to be like keep watch on that input file so that any changes that happen, you just keep updating them. But according to this documentation, our CSS file is in a source folder. So I can just go ahead and create that, even for like better code readability. Let me just create a source folder in here, because it's going to get all messy when we start like doing things. Let me just move my input.css
Yeah.
into the source
Exactly.
folder. Yeah. So I've moved it into my source folder now. So yeah, I think let me just run the next line of code. So you can see this package log.json. Okay, sorry, not package lock.json, sorry. The tailwind config.js. Okay, sorry. Let me just go ahead and go to the next step. Sorry. Go ahead to next step. So, so the next step is to like copy this line of code and then have our tailwind compile like our runtime. So our tailwind will keep compiling based on any changes we make, and we'll keep seeing the changes on our browser on yeah on our website. Let me paste this next line of code and run it. on Ali's terminal. So running this line of code now. So yeah, it's done. So the Tailwind server is like running live now. So any changes I make in one HTML file, I'll keep seeing the changes um, live. So I can come in my source folder and I can create an HTML file. So yeah, you see it's generating a dist for me. It's generated a dist for me, output.css. So this output.css is where I will see like any lines of like any code I write or all the CSS, all the Tailwind classes that are possible to write. They've already like been written in here. So you can use them from here and they're like default stylings that have been applied to like some of your most of your components in in your CSS. So they've like some of them they've been if you look at go to the output of CSS file, are you there, Ali?
Yeah, I
Yeah, you can see some of them they've taken out
yeah.
padding, they've done CSS resets for them, some of them things here and there, and yeah. So let me not bore you with these details, and you see that whatever CSS we write in our own whatever tailwind classes we use in our own HTML, they eventually come back to be generated in this output.css file. So let me just come back to my SRC. Let me come back to my SRC and create an HTML file. So let me just call it index.html. I've created that, and yeah, let me just go ahead and yeah, I'm still going to have to link my HTML to my CSS. And what I'm going to be linking is my output.css because that is the CSS that is actually being generated. So whatever styling that is occurring is going to be occurring. If Ali goes to the next step on Tailwind site, yeah, you can see that.
Okay.
So I'm going to be linking my output.css to my HTML because that output.css is the static file that is being generated after our Tailwind has compiled the utility classes, which are going to be like you'll be seeing them as like little lines of CSS classes that we'll just write. So whatever we write there, it's just easily take that and then like precompile it and then like generate writes the code that automatically into output.css. So we are now linking our
Mhm.
output.css to our HTML so that we can see the changes. I think that makes sense to some extent.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so let me just let me just change this to Tailwind demo. I'm back on my HTML now. Tailwind demo. I want to change the title. Tailwind demo. So yeah, let me link the CSS, the output of CSS. So link style sheets, which is the relationship between them. And then my folder that I'll be linking from is this output.css. Sorry. So
Mm.
yeah, linked up now. So if I come to this body, let me create a simple button. Let me create a simple button. Now style it with tailwind. So button. So Ali, let me just put here in this button. So Ali, if you
Yeah.
can open up your browser with
Okay.
live server, so you can
Okay.
see. Yeah, but before that, show your terminal. Show your terminal before that. Show your terminal.
Yeah.
Let people see. Yeah, you can see like it's showing done in 32 milliseconds, done in 24 milliseconds, rebuilding. Like all this rebuild is causing like code to be written like to our output of CSS, which is then affecting our own HTML. So yeah, like you can see like the server is like currently live, so it's running. So if Ali opens his browser with his code with live server now, like his website rather, the website we're working on. You can see we have the hey button right there. And yeah, it's right there. So let's try to write some CSS and let's see what would happen. So coming back here, uh, oh, okay, yeah, it wasn't properly linked, right?
Yeah,
Because
because it's not a relative path, it's absolute path.
yeah,
So we need to go one folder up so that we can access the dist folder.
yeah, exactly. I was looking about because the hey button should have the button default style
Exactly.
should have disappeared. Should have
Hmm.
disappeared. That's how weird Tailwind is. They've written some CSS. Yeah, they've written some CSS to like take out default styles. So whenever you put a component on a web page using Tailwind, even if it's an H1, it just removes the font size and everything and it strips everything off. And what you see is plain content. So yeah, this A button, like you shouldn't have any styling at all, so it's working. So let me try to like style the button. If I go back to my CSS, I'll put like a class, sorry,
Mhm.
class. So here I can do like padding around. Let me do like padding top. So padding top, I can do padding top and bottom with PY. I think padding
Mhm.
top is PT, padding bottom is PB, padding left is PL. Like very easy to like relate to. Padding right is PR. Yeah. So
Like for example, like the first letter, like top is T, left is L, and bottom is
yeah,
B, and the right
yeah,
is R. So take the first letter
yeah.
and you can change it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's one syntax in Tailwind that I can use to write my own custom CSS, my own custom units from CSS. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use default Tailwind classes. So if I go to my Tailwind config.js, sorry, not that. Mm, there's a file that has okay, we didn't generate that file. There's actually a command you can use to do like while initializing our CSS, we'll generate a full tailwind file that has all the default styling pre-written so that you can see all the like how they've done it. But yeah, there's an extension you can also use on VS Code to help you with Tailwind. I think the name is called Tailwind
Oh,
something. Just search for Tailwind.
okay. So let me search it. Like, so go to the extension and type Tailwind.
Yeah,
Tailwind. So I think yeah, this is the one. Like Tailwind CSS. Like, what's the name of it?
yeah, exactly.
In a
IntelliSense, yeah,
IntelliSense. So
yeah.
once
So
you
this,
install it, okay, go ahead, bro.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, so once you install the package, like the extension, so all you need to do is come and write something like bg, and you see it will automatically give you some options which you can use. So that's the beauty of using Tailwind CSS.
IntelliSense, yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah,
so
that's the job of that. Yeah.
yeah, so that's what that awesome extension does. So you might not be able to remember all the styles, so you can just like use this extension to help you to like even discover new styles that you didn't classes that you didn't know of, or you can just check out their documentation. I use that documentation a lot. Like if I'm trying to
Mhm.
do something that I already know from vanilla CSS, I can just Google it and then
Mhm.
find the equivalent in Tailwind because Tailwind has some weird namings for some things, but you still eventually find all the CSS you know that you
Mhm.
already know
Exactly.
in
Yeah. Yeah.
Tailwind. Yeah. So let me start this button and let's get it. Let me give it a background color of like EG of maybe red or something. No, red is
Mhm.
maybe too, but let me do like gray. And there's like a thickness that Tailwind uses. So gray of like 400. If we look at the button now,
Okay, yeah, it's working.
yeah, so we see the button has a gray background of 400. I can increase this thickness to like a strength of the thickness of the color. If I increase it to like 800, you see it's like very
Yeah.
thick gray. I think there's like 100 too. So 100 is like very light.
We barely
You
see it.
yeah, you can barely see it. So yeah, let me just go with like 400. I think it was 400.
Yeah,
I was-
yeah, it's good.
Okay. Yeah, so from here, let me now give it a padding on the top and bottom, which is padding on the y-axis. Maybe like give it like padding y2.
Hmm. That's
Yeah, maybe
good.
that's too much. Okay, py2. Let me do px, left and right. Sorry, I keep trying to write my own custom styles. Px of let's try four. Let's see. And we look at four. Four is like how many rems. So they're like default rems for each of their buttons. Oh, okay. Did
uh,
you zoom in, Ali?
yeah, I zoom it.
Okay, that's why. It was looking. Okay, Rakesh says, hey, Rakesh, what's up?
uh,
So, yeah. So moving on. So from here, I can then strip. Let me take out the text size. I think the text size is too different. I can do like text. I think like it's small or something.
like text SM, we can say.
Oh yes, text SM. Sorry,
Yeah.
that might be too small though. But let's see what happens.
I zoom in, so if I go to the 100%, so it's very small.
Okay, let me increase it. Text MD. It's like a different sizes for like David. David is that weird. Okay.
And let's
Okay,
say
so you include.
text hyphen 9 XL to make it big.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, 9XL. That'll be like super big.
Uh,
David Dada says hi. Hey David, what's up? So this is
yeah,
like
that's
super. This is super big. Let me take it down to like two. Let me take like XL. XL is good or LG.
yeah,
LG is nice. LG is nice. But let me make it
yeah,
bold too.
yeah. It's good.
I can do text semi bold. I think semi bold makes it semi bold as the name says. So if you look at this now,
I think it's already
uh,
semi-bold.
oh, okay, maybe I should make it bold then.
Yeah, bold.
I want it to be very noticeable. I want it to be very noticeable.
I
Did
think
it
the
work?
text no, because the text. Oh, you have to use font bold
Oh, font bold.
instead of
Sorry, not
text.
not
Yeah,
text. Font bold. Yeah, of course.
yeah.
So
Right
font
now
bold
it's
should make.
working.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. So moving on from there, I can then now add other stylings. Let me do like a margin around of like two, so that the button doesn't stay close to the edge.
Hmm.
Margin around of two, that's M2. So from
And
here,
also
I can
you.
then
Mhm.
make the edges rounded. Oh, sorry. Okay.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So let me
Yeah.
make the edges rounded a bit. So like it's like rounded is like border radius.
Yeah.
So rounded, I think rounded is going to make it, yeah. So rounded on the edges. So that there are like different ways you can increase the roundedness. That I think I had like different degrees to make it
Hmm.
more rounded and other stuff like that. So from here,
Exactly.
I can now what else can I do to this button to make it better? Can I make the
Like
text white?
yeah, text white. No, right now I think the text color is good.
Oh, okay.
You can add a hover effect if you want.
Oh, yeah, of course. Maybe when
Yeah.
you over on it, I want the yeah. So Tailwind also works with pseudo class, pseudo states properly. Like it has you working with pseudo states that you enjoy a lot. So I can add a hover like literally like that. So hover colon. Then I can do I can see what I want to be applied on hover. Maybe I want the text to become white on over and the background to become thicker or something. Yeah, I think yeah that works out. So I can do like over BG gray to be like 800. Valley checks it out now.
Okay. Like you can set the text to be white, like when
Yeah,
hovering
yeah, of
it.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe like text, white. Hope white works. Okay, it works. No, no, on over, sorry.
Yeah.
Not.
On hover
Yeah, so you
effect.
have to apply
Yeah.
the over again. Over
Yeah.
again, exactly. It's text white, yeah. So when
Okay.
you,
Very
yeah, of
nice.
course.
And
So that
also you
was
can
like a
add the
quick,
duration. Like it's working good.
yeah, you can add the duration too for like
Mhm.
animation. I think if you do duration, I think you have to activate the animation first. Let me see. Duration like 75 as like maybe 0.75 seconds. Let's see. Over it.
Yeah.
I think it works. Okay.
That's good. Then you can
Yeah,
increase it
awesome.
something to 200 to see whether it is
So
working
it's
good or
yeah,
not.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
working.
yeah, it's working. This is very nice.
Uh,
Yeah, so that was one way to set up Tailwind in your CSS, and we showed you like by installing these dependencies. And if you look at Ali's terminal, you can see that our Tailwind is rebuilding and rewriting to our CSS. So before we move on to the next step, let's check out our output.css to see what is happening there. So value opens the file.
mhm. Okay,
Come
let
in.
me find it. Yeah, here.
So where are our styles? Are they there?
Exactly, yeah. Like we add rounded, we add BG gray 400, and also BG gray 800, PY2, padding top and bottom 2, text SM, text 9. Yeah, it's working fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have all the
Exactly.
classes.
Exactly. So yeah, this is awesome. So somebody has a question for you, Ali. Can you like check it out to answer while I then we move on to the next process to set up Tailwind.
Okay.
So Raja said, "Says Ali, I'm learning SAS CSS now. but I'm thinking to start Tailwind CSS. Should I jump into Tailwind CSS or still use SAS? Which he said which one is best choice?
So I think like SAS, like SASS is something else. So I think if you want to learn Tailwind CSS, you don't need to know the SAS. Like SAS, like SASS is a processor of CSS. So like it's something similar to vanilla CSS, but what you can do with SSS is you can nest like CSS elements that you can like there's a section. Inside that section there is lots of image, and inside that image there might be lots of paragraph. So what you
Mm-hmm.
can do with ASS is you can target the section and you can target the image inside the section. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something similar to vanilla CSS, but you can nest
Mm-hmm.
element inside element
Yeah.
or element. So that's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
SAS do. But if you want to learn Tailwind CSS, then you don't need to know the SAS. So you can start and learning the Tailwind CSS. Maybe
Yeah.
there
Yeah. I
might be
mean,
some
SAS.
people. Yeah, maybe there
Yeah.
might be
Yeah.
some
Go
people
ahead.
that maybe there
Mm-hmm.
might be some people that doesn't know SASS, but still they're
Mm-hmm.
using Tailwind CSS.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, there
Mm-hmm.
are like lots of cool stuff you can do with SAS. SAS is very, it's a preprocessor, not a framework. So I think people confuse SAS less and what's the other one? Is it SCSS? People confuse them a lot
Yeah.
because they are actually not frameworks. They are preprocessors. They just give you a way to write CSS in a much more simpler and very
Mm-hmm.
relatable way. Like you're writing CSS like you're writing like real code. Well, CSS is real code,
Exactly.
anyways. But
Okay. Yeah, so let me
yeah.
give you an example, like a quick example. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine there's a section, so you can style it like give it a width of 100% and go on. Inside that section, there might be a paragraph. So you need
Yeah.
to select the section and select the
Mm-hmm.
paragraph and give it a font size of 1 em and add its
Mm-hmm.
styles. So inside that
Mm-hmm.
section, inside the paragraph, there might be a span.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to select a section, select the paragraph, select the span,
Mm-hmm.
and say
Mm-hmm.
something like font size to 2 em, something like something, and I added a size.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so this way it is called vanilla CSS. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
using SASS, there will be
Mm-hmm.
something like section. You need to target the section, say width to be 100%. But
Mm-hmm.
so in SSS, so there's no need to write another section, but you can nest the elements that you can write
Mm-hmm.
a P inside the
Mm-hmm.
section. You can
Mm-hmm.
say put it a font size of 1 em. So a
Mm-hmm.
span is inside the paragraph. So you can also
Mm-hmm.
nest a span. So you say a
Mm-hmm.
span, set the span font size to be 1 em. So that's called SASS.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very correct, Ali. Well, and a
Yeah.
good explanation actually. And there's something else you can actually do with SAS. I mean, there was a time around last year when I built my own CSS framework using SAS. So you can actually write your own CSS framework because what are with CSS frameworks basically? They are like pre-written classes that have been written somewhere. So with SAS, you can actually write your own CSS, like pre-written
Hmm.
classes with utility names, and then have them be your own framework that you can then use on another project. And all you have to do is call the class names. So yeah, SAS is that easy and very fun to use. So there are lots of
Hmm.
like business, there are lots of ways benefits to using preprocessors, but preprocessors
Okay.
are not frameworks. Yeah,
Exactly. So Raja is
yeah.
asking things, Ali. So which one is in most demand? So I would say Tailwind. Like if you see most of the project are using Tailwind CSS. I don't like
Hmm.
in Twitter on Twitter I see everyone is using Tailwind CSS instead of SASS. Like they're not
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about SASS. They're all talking about Tailwind CSS. So I
Yeah,
would
yeah, yeah.
suggest for you to go and learn Tailwind CSS.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Same here, same here. Because yeah, I used to win a lot in all my
Yeah.
projects, and when people are hiring, they're always looking for developers that can front end developers that can use Tailwind. So I really suggest learning Tailwind. So
Yeah.
Theodore
Even
says enjoying
yeah.
this. Yeah, go on, go on, go on.
Like if you go to the like Tailwind CSS showcase, the Open AI, like the Chat GPT is also using Tailwind CSS.
Yeah, yeah, crazy.
and and also this amazing website Turbo is also using Tailwind
Yeah,
CSS.
yeah,
Lots of
yeah,
other
yeah.
website. Like if you see on
Mm-hmm.
Twitter, like everyone using like making AI website, which they're
Mm-hmm.
also I'm sure that they're also using Tailwind CSS.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, a lot of people love Tailwind. I mean, I don't like stress personally. I don't like stress. So instead of having to stress myself, I just use Tailwind and write all the things I need. And it's customizable, so you can do whatever you want, and you
exactly.
still
Yeah.
get the same results. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, of course. So yeah. So Ali, you can drop the link to the showcase website in the comments, so Raja can check it out later on. But let me
It
go
was
to step two.
okay. I will send it in a private chat so that you can send it because I can't send it in the
Okay,
comment.
okay,
Okay.
okay, okay. I'll drop it to Raja now. Raja, I just dropped it. Yeah, I just dropped it to you. So moving
Yes,
on.
Harsh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. This discussion is active in the comments. So moving on to the next step two of like setting up Tailwind in your project. So Ali, if you can go back to the documentation so we can check it out.
Okay.
So yeah, we've done the CLI one. Now I want to do the place CDN one. So the place CDN is like very, very straightforward. Like in 2 steps, you're like literally done. You don't need to do that much work to set it up. Yeah, of course. So let me just go ahead and set it up in my Tailwind. So Ali, if you go back to your, are you on VS Code now? Yeah.
Which one you're going to use? Which method? Post CSS or
Place CDN.
CDN? CDN.
Place
Okay.
CDN.
Please.
Yeah.
Okay.
So place CDN now. Now we place CDN. I'm going to have to take out some code. So if I go back to my output.css, did you delete something like showing red?
No, I didn't delete anything.
And there's like 7 red lines here. Okay, okay. Maybe it's
There is
premium.
extra one. Okay. Fixed.
Okay, fixed. Okay. So awesome. Back here now. So all I'm going to do now to add place CDN to my code is I'm going to comment out this output.css line. Yeah. So I'm going to kill the server so the server doesn't crash, so that things doesn't crash. So I've killed the server on our list terminal. So I'm going to go back. No, Ash, we're not using Vite. We're using the Tailwinds CLI to run this. We're not using
Mm-hmm.
Vite. Yeah. So so I'm going to go back to the documentation, and I'm going to copy that script line. So I'm going to link. There's a script somewhere that Tailwind has done that I'm going to be linking to now. So they have their maybe they have their script sitting on one website, maybe the cdn.tailwindcss.com. So that's a link to like a script. If I put it on the browser, let me see where that link takes me to. So Ali, if you can put it on your browser, that source link on your browser, let's see where it takes us to.
Okay. CDN Tailwind. Let's paste it. So it will take us to this
Yeah.
document.
So it takes us to like this document that has lots and lots and lots of CSS in JS, I guess. CSS in JS, yeah. So lots and
Okay.
lots, like the lines of code. You can't even read them
Yeah.
to quality. So yeah, so now we're going to link this file that Tailwind has posted online. We're going to use it, link it um to our HTML file to like use the second method. So we've done 2 methods now. The method one was using CLI. So in method two now, which is by far the easiest method to work with, but you can also customize it, but there might be some like issues with um right you having to write too much code on your HTML. But yeah, for that we can it depends on you and whatever matches your needs. But this is another way to set up Tailwind in your HTML. So I'm going to paste this script line here. So if Ali starts the server again, you will see that the styles still appear. If I goes
Yeah.
back to the
It's,
yeah,
it's
so
still
maybe
we
to
are
test it
getting the
out.
same design. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe to test it out, Ali, you can maybe try playing with the styles a little so we can test it out.
So let's change the background from gray to green. Yeah, it's working.
Yeah, perfect. So you can see we set up Tailwind in our CSS using another method, place it there. So the other 2 methods, you can check them out on your own and follow the documentation to set them up in your project. But yeah, for this episode, I we took you to 2 methods. We use the CLI one where you have to use Tailwind CLI and run your code, and then you have to rebuild your inputs and your inputs. I mean, the utility classes used from your HTML such that the Tailwind is like as a compiler that's compiling your code at like runtime, and it builds every time to write to your output.css and generates that dist folder for you as well. But and there's also the other method where you just link to Tailwind script that's hosted somewhere online, and you just put it in your CSS in your HTML so that you can link to both of them. So yeah, that is pretty much my own part of this. And I pretty much think like a lot of people have I use Tailwind a lot. Like I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
look at how we
Yeah,
created this button, how many lines of code. And there are other ways you can make this button easily customizable. I mean, I can take all of this CSS written here and I can make it use at apply. There's this directive called at apply that I can use to constrict everything into one simple word, such that I'll just put that word here and that class or word or whatever will apply all the styles of written here to this button. So yeah, there are multiple ways to customize your CSS and everything still works out and checks out properly. So yeah,
exactly.
that's
Yeah.
yeah. So Ali, do you have anything to add?
No, I have nothing to add.
Okay,
Like,
okay, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, sure. So Ali, someone's asking something in the comments. Raja has a question.
So about the course, like, I think you don't need to know about. Like, there's no need to learn from a course. Like, are lots of courses on YouTube which you can watch and learn from them, like Net Ninja, like he's teaching a lot of technology. But beside
Mm-hmm.
of course, that you can check the documentation. The documentation is very easy to follow. Like you can start using the tailwind. So if you're stuck in somewhere, so you can Google it and get the answer. That's too easy. Like I didn't follow a single. I did follow, but I didn't complete that course. So all I did was start working with Tailwind CSS. So if I forgot some utility classes, I will go and
I
search on
just
Google
Google
and
it.
get the answer.
Yeah,
Just Google it
yeah,
and get the
exactly,
answer. And also you can follow
exactly.
the documentation. It's really
Yeah,
it will be very helpful and it's very easy to follow. But
yeah.
if you
One thing
want,
I like about
yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead,
Go
bro.
ahead, go ahead.
No,
Okay, yeah. So one thing I like about their documentation is that it's so very easy to work with. Like I mean, Tailwind's documentation is very chill to use. Like for you, like it's easy to navigate. Like if I'm looking for a style, I can just pretty much find it like on the fly, and yeah, it's
no.
very fast. And I love that part about their documentation. Their documentation
Yeah,
is one to emulate. Like very easy to use and understand. Yeah.
exactly. Like, see, it is having a great UI and UX design. Like
Mm-hmm.
everything is built
Mm-hmm.
on base of like animation, and you can see what people are saying about like everyone is saying that most of the people are saying that Tailwind CS is good. So okay, I get the point.
Yeah,
And like
exactly,
for
exactly.
example, like you can come and search like maybe I forgot about how to add a font weight. So all you need to
Mm-hmm.
do in search and say font weight, and you can click it, and it will take you to the documentation which you can see like font weight is equal to 100. So you can use this
Mm-hmm.
class name and font
Mm-hmm.
weight is equal to 500. You can use this class name and you can
Mm-hmm.
follow the docs. I think you don't need to read all of it. You can start
Mm-hmm.
working with Tailwind CSS. So if you get
Mm-hmm.
stuck in somewhere, so all you need to
Mm-hmm.
do, come here, just write the value, like the
Mm-hmm.
property, and you will get the answer.
Yeah, exactly. Very straightforward and easy to use. And
Mhm.
yeah, you will love it. Don't worry, you will love it. And it's very you will love working with it. Let me not spoil it for you. Let me not drop a spoiler. Don't worry, just check it out and I'm sure you will like it a lot. So he says thank
Exactly.
you. Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank
You're
you, bro.
welcome, Raja.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
So I think we're almost 1 hour in. So this is like we are 50 minutes in rather. So we're like, and the live stream is we're supposed to span 1 hour. So we're going to be done in a couple of minutes. And yeah, I pretty much loved everything we did today. I mean, we used the CLI, which was very fun
Mhm.
to work with, and we also worked with the CD the play CD, and where we had to use the script to start it to link to our HTML, and we pretty much got the same styles working. So yeah,
Exactly.
Ali, what do you have to say?
All I need to say, like, just start and like start working with Term and CSS, and you will learn it. Like, I have some experience about Term and CSS. So while I was working, like using the PASS, like predecessor of CSS. So I thought that this is the best choice. I don't need to go use a CSS framework, so there's no need to use a Tailwind CSS because SSS will give me like lots of things. Like I can nest elements like paragraph inside that, so that will make my work easy. So, but after several days or several months, I found out that Tailwind CSS is the best choice to use them because it
Yeah,
will.
yeah.
It's not only going to make your work easy, but also fast, very fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So I give an example at the beginning of the live stream. So if I want to make a single page, and by using vanilla CSS, it might take me 1 hour. But if I use the Tailwind CSS, it might take me 20 or 25 minutes to build it. So that's the difference between the Tailwind
Yeah.
CSS and vanilla CSS. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it takes time to actually get the classes in your head
Yeah.
because when I
Mhm.
started out, I pretty much had to Google everything and test out. And that extension that we showed you to install was a very helpful extension. You should get it because you can pretty much play around with it to discover
Yeah.
new classes that you didn't know about. So yeah, that extension plus Googling plus like using Tailwind a lot pretty much helped to ingrain some Tailwind classes in my head. Sometimes now if I'm trying to style something, I don't need to think that much. I just know the
Mhm.
class and I use it. So with time, eventually get more acquainted with the classes so that I can use them without having to Google. So yeah, that's I don't think you need to stress yourself out. Just learn
Yeah.
CSS basics so that you do your CSS, then
Mhm.
adopt Tailwind so that you can use all the CSS knowledge you know before, use them in Tailwind. So Tailwind is not replacing CSS, it's just a very faster, easier way and lighter way to write your CSS. Efficiency is key when it comes to development, in
Exactly.
my opinion.
I do agree. I do agree.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much everything for today's live stream. Thank you folks for joining. Really appreciate the support and the activity in the comments. And yeah, we'll catch you guys later, I guess. Final comments, Ali.
Final comment. So Roger, I think, is going to have a last question. Like he's having question.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so last question. We have
Um.
full control on website styling. Why isn't Tailwind CSS? Yeah.
Uh. Like while I'm working, like making a website, I also use sometimes I also use vanilla CSS. Like
Mm-hmm.
for working like with a pseudo element like before and after, so I use vanilla
Mm-hmm.
css for that.
Mm-hmm.
But we can also use tailwind css to work with before and after pseudo element. But if I use
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that, we are going to have a long line. So instead of
Line of
that,
code.
yeah,
Yeah.
line of code. So instead of that, I use vanilla CSS. But if like full control, I think yes, we have a full control of the styling with Tailwind CSS. And later, like in upcoming live stream, we are going to talk about Tailwind CSS dot config.js. Like it's a Tailwind CSS which we can add the styles. Like we can say colors primary, which is equal to a red color. So we can use that class name and say bg hyphen primary. So we can do
Exactly.
so many things. We can do so many
Yeah.
things with tailwind.config,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, .config.js. We can add animation. We can add keyframes. So later we will be teaching you about tailwind.config.js. Yeah, we have a
Yes,
full
definitely.
control. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And based on what Ali said right now, actually, some people are like biased towards Tailwind because they feel it requires you to write so much CSS on your HTML. It makes your HTML messy. But yeah, they are like workarounds to Tailwind. I mean, the Tailwind team is really working on their project and they put in so much work to Tailwind and thought because that messy code on your HTML, there are workarounds to it such that you can write every any repetition you have in your CSS that you've written so many times. You can just take all that CSS, go to your CSS file, then use this apply something or layer to create another alias for all that CSS, such that you can
Mhm.
then apply it back into your HTML. So yeah, there are
Exactly.
workarounds to CSS Tailwind, such that you don't have
Okay.
to stress
Mhm.
much like when working with Tailwind. Yeah, very easy to
Yeah,
use.
like nowadays, Like instead of using the vanilla CSS, like I
Mm-hmm.
use like I can target the element, and there is
Mm-hmm.
a function I can say like at apply, so I can use
Yeah.
the Tailwind CSS. So we can also do that, but I think we can teach this kind of tip and tricks in the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So David has been very supportive in this live stream.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, David.
Really appreciate it. Yeah, really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
David, Dada, yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah. So, okay, Raja has another question.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Is there any
Yeah, very good.
problem while using both Tailwind CSS and CSS? I think you
His
won't
very
get
last
a
question
problem. Yeah,
is
I think you won't get a problem. You can use both of them at the same time, as I do, like in some of my project. Like if I'm using a pseudo element, I will use vanilla CSS. So it depends on you. Like if I see
mm-hmm,
that my code is too long, so I will make it small.
mm-hmm,
Like a target element, like instead of vanilla CSS, I will use at apply and add this utility classes. So yeah,
mm-hmm.
but if you want to use Seven CSS and Vanilla CSS, you can do that. But I think it's
Yeah, you
not
can.
a good choice to do that because Seven CSS is a framework, so you only need to use that. But if you want to use both of them, you surely can
Mm-hmm.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's very
Yeah.
Tailwind does not take control of your hands. Like Tailwind gives
Mhm.
you control. I can install Tailwind on my project, and I might not use Tailwind throughout the entire project. Or maybe in
Yeah.
like select places in my project, and it still works out with
Mhm.
CSS. So
Mhm.
it's like you are. It's just very fun to use. Like check it out, and the more you play with it, the more you grow into it, and the more it becomes more
Exactly.
like a fun tool to use. Just have fun with it, in my own opinion. Have fun with it,
Mhm.
and that way you get to like pretty much understand and enjoy it better.
Exactly.
So yeah, we are already
So
like 1 hour into the live stream. 1 hour in. Like this
that's
episode is very
amazing.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, this episode is very fun. We haven't spent this much time on an episode, and I'm really excited
Okay.
about this.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. So Raja,
So
did you get your answer? Like, do you have any other question that we can help you?
yeah, you said thank you. That's great. Thank you very, very, very much, Ali. Appreciate it. Yeah, you're welcome, Raja.
Thanks, Toby. Yeah, thanks, Toby. Thanks,
Yeah,
Toby, as well.
yeah. Yeah, of course, of course. So shout out to everyone in the audience that supported us: Rakesh, David, Raja, Theodore. Who else? Who else supported? Yeah, I think that's pretty much Ash. Yeah, Ash as well. Thank you very much, everyone, for showing up and joining us in this fun episode. And yeah, catch you guys in the next one. I guess next week.
Yeah. Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Have a great day.
Yeah, bye,
Thank you.
David.